I remember the taste of metal before I hit the floor. Dinner was halfway done, roasted lamb, laughter, the clinking of glasses, when the world tilted. I reached for the table, but my fingers slipped. The last thing I heard before everything went black was my mother-in-law's voice, sharp and cold. "Don't, son, she's pretending." Then silence. When I opened my eyes, the ceiling above me was white. Too white. My throat was dry, my stomach hollow. Machines hummed softly beside me. I was alone, 7 months pregnant, and alone. I tried to move, but the IV line tugged at my arm. The nurse entered, her face pale, eyes hesitant. She looked at me the way people look when they don't know how much truth you can handle. "Where's my husband?" I asked. She hesitated. "He left, said he'd be back in the morning. He didn't come. But the doctor did, and what he told me changed everything. He showed me the test results. 2 sedatives in my blood, not 1, 2. The dosage high enough to make anyone collapse. Fatal if I'd taken a little more." I stared at the paper, my pulse steady, my mind strangely quiet. "How?" I asked. The doctor shrugged. "Could have been ingested, food, maybe drank, hard to say." Food, dinner, the lamb, the wine my mother-in-law insisted I have. "Just a sip," she'd said. I remembered the bitter aftertaste, the way my husband's eyes darted toward her, waiting for her approval before he spoke. And I understood completely. When I first met him, I thought he was gentle, the kind of man who listened, who asked before he touched. He was attentive, protective, almost too much. His mother adored me then. She called me her angel. I believed her. It changed after the wedding. She started visiting unannounced, rearranging my kitchen, whispering in his ear when she thought I couldn't hear. "She's pretending, son. You're too soft with her." He began to withdraw, first emotionally, then physically. By the time I was pregnant, I was living with 2 strangers, one who ignored me and one who studied me like a threat. I could have cried that night in the hospital, but instead, I smiled. They thought I'd die quietly, the foolish wife who'd fall asleep and never wake. But I woke up. And I didn't tell them what the doctor told me. When my husband finally arrived the next morning, guilt dripping off his face like sweat, I pretended to forget. "I must have fainted," I whispered. "I'm sorry for worrying you." He looked relieved. She, on the other hand, looked disappointed. That was the moment I decided to end their story. I started collecting. Bank statements, medical records, copies of insurance papers. The one she filed under my name, life insurance worth $500,000, dated 2 weeks before that dinner, signed by him. I didn't confront them, not yet. I smiled, cooked, laughed, played the role. Every kind word I gave her was a rope I was tightening around her neck. When I was discharged, I called a lawyer, not mine, hers, the one she trusted with her estate. I fed him a few details, small enough to sound accidental, big enough to raise suspicion. Then I sent him the documents anonymously. 2 weeks later, an investigation began. The day they showed up at the house, the officers, the flashing lights, I sat in the car, watching from across the street. My husband's voice cracked as he tried to explain. My mother-in-law screamed that it was all a misunderstanding. It wasn't. They found the pills, the emails, the paperwork. Every thread they pulled led back to her and him. They thought they could control the narrative, but I had already written the ending. When he called me from the station, begging me to speak for him, I almost felt pity. Almost. I listened as he cried, as he swore he never meant to hurt me, that it was all his mother's idea. I waited until he finished. Then I said, "You should have called the ambulance," and hung up. The baby came early, healthy, quiet, beautiful. When I held her for the first time, I realized something. Survival isn't loud. It's silent, strategic, patient, like me. They thought they could poison me into silence, but all they did was wake the part of me that no longer fears losing anyone. I don't visit them. I don't send updates. I live in a house by the sea now, where the nights are calm and the only sound is my daughter breathing beside me. Sometimes, when the wind howls through the open windows, I hear my mother-in-law's words echo. She's pretending. And I smile. Because I was. I pretended to be weak, to forgive, to forget. But the truth is, I never fainted that night. I fell, yes, but not from weakness. And when I rose again, I wasn't the same woman. I was the storm they never saw coming.